All right, I'm Andy, and I want to talk about outbound systems and specifically systems for instead of hiring SDRs or BDRs or account reps. Specifically, because a lot of times when you deal with an agency and they talk about outbound sales, what they're going to do is give you a number of meetings that they expect to be the range. And then you get on a call with them and they're going to say things like, yeah, we're not, we don't know. It's not totally sure. They're going to give you some type of guarantee where essentially there's a way for them to get out of it. And I think it's important to understand, how much more complex that system is going to need to be in order to get the results that you're looking for. So the first part is understanding some of the sales numbers. So anybody that's in sales management or that's dealing with their sales team on a regular basis, they know all of this stuff, right? So reaching out to prospects, social media, that's a very long game. It can work, specifically LinkedIn, but it is tough and it's more difficult as we're getting through messaging. But there's different ways to do that, content being one of them. Email to me is the core base of outreach. And this isn't a situation where, most SDR, BDRs are sending to 35 prospects a day. When we talk about outbound, we're talking somewhere between 800 to 1,500 emails, new contacts a day. And then we have sequences and things like that. So this isn't using a off-the-shelf platform. This is entirely private infrastructure with a developer that I'm in touch with all the time so that we have the best deliverability possible. There's been some deliverability issues, but we've just completely gone in-house private server on my account. So it's not this, there, in the cold email space, there was a contagion of issues. Cold calling still works. We can utilize cold calling. And really, I prefer warm calling. It depends on the client, but that can be an opt-in on a platform, opt-in ad, and then with some information, and then a warm call after that. Texting, we don't tend to get involved with because of the legalities around that. It's really tricky. But that's, obviously we can text and things afterwards, but after the initial contact was made and there's an interest indicated there, because beyond that, you start to get into some legal issues. So where we focus on is sales management, productivity, and prospecting tools. So we're really trying to handle the top half of this. There's AI and automation. What we do can fit into all of this, but we're really trying to focus on a strategic system that integrates with the existing business, not trying to have another software, to have another system that you have to pay for and then adapt. The idea being is you don't know that it's working. You just know that there's meetings being booked. You don't know exactly the inner workings. You're not dealing with the inner workings on a daily basis. What happens is you're just getting the results from it. And that's really where we want to be at. We don't want a new system for people to have to adapt to and change the way in which they do things. That is just not really worth it. So if we go back and we look, a lot of times people talk about offers, and that's been the big topic in marketing in the last year. But the delineation has to be made that we're not talking about offers to warm traffic, we're talking about offers to cold traffic. So that's a completely different thing. The real cost per meeting is over $800 on average. The low end tends to be $551. This is for industry in general, not with us. But it can get up to over $2,000 depending on how intricate your trainings are and the technology that you need to use in order to get in front of prospects. So our customers, clients tend to be under $200 a meeting. And by meeting specifically, what I mean is this is going to be someone who knows what the service or product is, they're interested in utilizing it, they have a need for it, and they want to talk. And it's not an inquiry like, tell me about pricing. It's nothing like that. These are meetings to sit down and to have a conversation about potentially using your service. So as you can see here, we go all the way through. We have starts with email copy. There's content, video, sales assets. We have an AI inbox that's completely automated, and then we also have kind of a secondary setup where it'll draft emails for salespeople. So again, this is not going to eliminate email for your sales team. It's just going to reduce their time in the inbox by probably about 80-90%, if not more. We also have, we like driving traffic to a sales funnel, not necessarily just a main website. If we're going to change the offer a little bit or the wording, we want to drive it to a separate landing page because we can really measure the attribution to the traffic that we're driving. Specifically also when we get into paid ads. So we have LinkedIn connection campaign that can get anywhere between 15-25% connection rates, just blind connections. We have an automated system for that. And then once we figure out the messaging that works, what we want to do is run ads. So running ads is effectively the same as cold email. You're getting in front of people. It's just that you can scale it that much faster. The mistake that a lot of business owners I see make is they start running ads and they go, well, it didn't work. Well, you have to test the messaging, and the most effective way from a cost perspective and a time perspective to test any type of messaging for sales is going to be on email. That's by far the best way to test it from a cost perspective. And then on top of that, what we want to do is look at the offer once we have it working and we have meetings that are being set. What we want to do is look at potentially new industries that you would branch out to. So maybe you typically service an industry, and then we say, well, there's an adjacent industry that has the same need that maybe you're not addressing. And then on top of that, we also want to see if there's any other complementary services so we can expand the LTV for your customers. I mean, we have clients that book meetings for under $200 and have a six-figure LTV. That's not uncommon. We don't want to work with customers where the ROI is questionable. We want to work with customers where the ROI is so clearly obvious and beneficial that everybody's happy. That makes the most sense for everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to book a meeting. We can just have a conversation. There might be something, what you're doing right now that just needs a little tweak, not necessarily a big change. And I'm happy to talk about it. So I hope you have a good one, and I hope this was helpful. Thanks.